Hello friends, bienvenidos. My name is Jen, aka Jen Colo on social media, your local witchy friend and intuitive guide through the occult. As always, my lovely husband and co-host is David, aka Premier Pulls on social media.
Hi everyone, on today's episode we celebrate a 1-year anniversary of Jen Explains.
Welcome to the show, grab a chair, make yourself at home. Jen's got stories to share, you'll never feel alone.
So 1 year, huh?
I can't believe it. It flew.
Yeah, that was insane. When we were coming up with the subjects on what we were going to do in September, I couldn't believe it was already a year. But that makes sense because one of our first episodes was like Halloween and Day of the Dead. So yeah, that tracks. But it really, really did fly.
I also just never imagined that we would be where we are with the podcast. It really just started as like a passion project that I was like, we'll see where it goes, like not really taking it seriously, and now it's a full-blown production.
Yeah. Well, I took it seriously, but if we recall, it was more like, let's just put them out, no expectation. I think we have good conversations, and we'll see what happens. And this is where we are a year later. I do want to start just because you just heard our intro song, and I thought it'd be a good time to give some fun facts, some kind of behind the scenes, some facts about our podcast.
Yeah.
The intro song, very interesting. Nobody's really asked.
Yeah.
I've had like one inquiry. I thought a lot more people would be interested, but it is not a song that exists. I think one person asked like, wow, y'all guys, you found the perfect song for your podcast. So we made that with AI, including lyrics and song. We just typed in some...
The vocals are AI.
Yeah, the vocals are AI for that. And there's like a longer version. I think it's like a 1-minute song, but the only part that applies is like that, because some of it is like distorted, some of it makes no sense.
Yeah.
But our intro song is made with AI, so who would have thought?
We spent, hours on it. Hours perfecting it just to have like a good 10 seconds. It's hard.
Yeah, and it's exactly 10 seconds. It took us like, we got some weird iterations. Like the one of them was like a weird techno-y alien vibe, because we would put the prompt in and then it would just come up with some crazy shit. Yeah. I think I signed up for like 5 free trials. I still get the emails. But yeah, that is our intro song for those of you who don't know. Also, we had I would say humble beginnings, but no, we had a little bit of a leg up. I knew how to do some video editing because of YouTube. Yeah. And ever since I was in high school, I would do like little video projects. So it's always been kind of my little fun thing. Yeah. But we started with these little very cheap Walmart mics because I said, you know what? Let's get started. We don't have to invest like that much money. I think we spent like all of $100 for like our whole setup. We had like a computer, so that we didn't count that. But like, why don't we just get started? And we'll talk about this here in a bit. But we went back and listened to our first episode right before we recorded this episode, and what a difference, huh? Yeah,
it's so interesting. Did we ever say the story of like what inspired us to get started?
We did. Yeah. We've said that I think twice already, but at the end of the day, we were just like, let's do it, let's commit, and we've been good. I think we've missed a handful of deadlines, our own personal deadlines.
I think literally just 2, because this is episode 51, and in a year there's 52 weeks.
Oh, really? And the last couple that we quote unquote missed, we actually ended up not missing them. We just didn't put them out in time. Yeah. So we released them at 1:59 a.m. Pacific Standard on Wednesdays. And I think maybe the times we have kind of missed, they've gone out, but they've gone out like Wednesday night. So we technically still were in Wednesday.
Yeah.
What was super interesting was going back and kind of everything we promised ourselves or everything we said we would do, we've done. Yeah. We said we would drop weekly episodes on Wednesday. There's been times where it hasn't been like, well, I don't want to say sustainable, but it's been difficult to like, oh my gosh, we got to record. Yeah. And one thing that we did tell ourselves, we've kind of broke it a little bit, but not too much, is that we would never record with a bad attitude. We always said we want to record and be in a good headspace. We want to make sure we're feeling the best. That was one of our earlier requirements for ourselves. I would say about 90% of the time we've been in a good headspace. We've definitely recorded some that have, like, we were just exhausted. Yeah. We were not in the mind space. but we kind of trucked through, and I listened back and they didn't sound too bad. So
Yeah.
But what about you? What do you think about this last year?
It's so interesting because I never thought that I would do like a video podcast, even though I was always like, oh, that looks so cool. But I was always really self-conscious. I was like, what am I even going to talk about for 45 minutes? Like when we started this, but I was like, you know what? Let's just give it a shot. And now sometimes 45 minutes goes like that. So interesting. Yeah. I'm so happy that we started this. Another requirement was that we wouldn't do anything inauthentic or sell out. Like sometimes people's shtick or like to get their bag, they'll put out like, I don't know, a rage bait content or like misleading things or things that they don't believe in, like grifting. And I was like, I never want to do that. I always want us to be true to ourselves and our character and like what we really think and how we really act, which is why, you know, this episode, even though we're composed, we're still pretty uncensored. And then in the unhinged one, I really like that one because there we're definitely a lot looser, a lot more relaxed, but always authentic. Yeah.
To be fair, I would sell out. So if anybody wants to pay us, let me know, and I will sell. Whatever you want to hear, I'll say it for you.
It's funny that the skeptic is willing to sell his soul.
Oh, 100%. And speaking of unhinged, one thing that we, I guess, kind of manifested, our first episode, we talked about how this podcast was going to be a little unhinged, and now in our Patreon, we have our unhinged segment. So
yeah,
maybe subconsciously it was stuck in there, huh?
And when we decided that name, I totally forgot that we said that in episode 1.
Episode 1.
Yeah.
Also, after hearing episode 1, one thing is we never have a script. We have notes in front of us and kind of bullet points, but we never have a script of what we're saying. It's always, gosh, most of the time is off the top of the dome.
Yeah.
You do some research for the episodes because you're the expert, but yeah, it's mostly just, I won't say off the cuff, but I think we've gotten better. We've understood our flow. And the first one, we sounded so robotic. It did sound like we were reading from a script.
Yeah.
And the quality was horrible. That's what was getting me. I was like, oh.
Yeah, listening to it now, it's like, oof.
Yeah.
But it's okay. It's just really interesting because, yeah, you could hear the progression and confidence and, confidence and comfortability.
Yeah, like our cadence got a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it sounded very scripted in the beginning, and it never was, which is what's kind of the most interesting. We also started in our dining room.
Yes, we did.
Which most of our episodes to do this last year have been in our dining room. Very recently have we transitioned to a studio.
Yeah.
But big shout out. We had barking dogs. We had neighbors. We had our own dog distracting us. So
at one point we had a roommate.
We had a roommate. Yeah. We had a roommate. And we've made it work. So for anybody who is interested in starting a podcast, you don't need, everybody has a phone. You really don't need more than your phone. Just kind of get started, I would say, right?
And something that we're happy to offer now is podcast consultation. So
or studio time.
Yeah, or studio time if you want to rent out this studio, just need a dedicated space. You don't have to go through it alone. We really learned a lot where it's like, oh, if I would have known this back then, I would have done this differently. And that's a paid service now that we offer. We're not like the biggest podcast, but we know how to make a podcast. So yeah, can definitely help you with humble beginnings. Like with very simple technology, anyone can put out a podcast if they really want to.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Another thing I want to talk about, I love behind the scenes stuff. Anytime I watch something and I get to see the behind the scenes, I think is really cool.
Yeah.
We've only had to do 1 or 2 retakes. There was one episode that we had to almost completely scrap because we just could not find our rhythm. Do you remember which one that was?
No.
I remember that day and I was like, oh my gosh. That was one
bad.
time where we had to scrap it because it was just really, really bad.
Yeah.
And then we kind of needed a practice run. The footage was deleted, so we could never put it out. So we did the topic, but I think we were like 20 minutes in and I was like, I'm not feeling this, are you?
No, yeah.
And then we had another one more recently where we didn't hit record. So that was fun, but also worked out because we also kind of were not feeling that one. And I was like, oh shit, in the middle of the podcast. I was like, babe, I forgot to hit record. I thought you were going to be so pissed. And you're like, actually, that kind of worked out because I'm not liking how this is sounding.
Yeah.
So those are really the only kind of snafus we've had with technology, which is pretty incredible for a year.
Yeah, we don't really do multiple takes. We really just do one take, which I kind of like, because then we really have to put our all into it. But it's also nice that, like, yeah, if it's like really not up to our standards halfway through, we can scrap it and start over. It's not ideal, but it's possible.
Yeah, exactly. So this episode is perfect because, like, I've learned eclipse season is not a time to manifest, but rather a time to reflect. And I learned this from you. So what a great time for us to sit back and reflect on the last year. Tell me, like, what have been some of your experiences, and how do you feel with being a year in?
I'm just so amazed at the amount of happiness this podcast has brought me, all the amazing people that I have met, especially like where we live. Sometimes people will hear our voice and recognize like our voice before they recognize us, especially because video is like so new to us now. So that's kind of cool. It's a little bit of a weird experience, but it's cool. I also feel like we've learned so much about each other. There are so many times throughout this year that you're like, I never knew that about you. I feel like I've said that maybe once or twice about you, but yeah. And I also feel like you've just learned so much that like a year ago you wouldn't know how to say half the things you know now, like your big three, what eclipses are, what portals are, like my own views on things. Yeah, it's really interesting to see that like absorbed. And then vice versa, I've really learned from you sort of like how to question a little bit more. I've always been skeptical, but in my own way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's been one of my favorite things. I can remember, things are coming in too. I can remember twice where somebody came up to me and I introduced myself, and the first thing they said was like, "Oh, I know who you are." I was like, "Huh?" Like, "Oh yeah, I listened to your podcast." I was like, "Oh, okay." It threw me off quite a bit, but it was super humbling. I think just a beautiful experience, and yeah, I've learned a lot. Do I retain it? Maybe not so much, but I like to blab, so it's really nice.
Repetition.
One other thing that's kind of changed our communication and our relationship, again, like Genesis mentioned earlier, all these episodes are very authentic. That's really how we talk to each other, whether there's camera, mics in front of us. Like, these are conversations we would have. Maybe not 45 minutes worth. We would kind of go on tangents, but we just kind of talk about life and bigger things. But now, anytime we kind of have a conversation we want to have like this, sometimes we're like, wait, don't tell me anything. Let's wait for the podcast.
Save the content.
Save the content. So that's been really cool with our communication style, because now we're like, wait, we have something to look forward to and talk about. And then, yeah, as far as kind of you being the expert, I'm always super amazed how, like, these things. And again, the Jen Explains is really more of the title. Like, we're never claiming to be experts and everything. So Jen does research on the topic we're doing. And then I don't really do research. I just try to think of, like, kind of my mindset on that. But I've always kind of been impressed on how, like, well you articulate and explain concepts. And even for someone like me who's, like, a huge skeptic, if I wasn't married to Jen, I probably wouldn't, like, be seeking this information. Or maybe if I was trying to, like, date a witchy girl. I think was the joke I said the other day. I was like, "Oh, babe, I'm talking to this girl. What are my big three again?" Totally kidding.
Yeah, totally kidding. But yeah, it's such a beautiful thing how much we've learned from each other, the community that we've made. And what do you think is something that you would say, like, okay, I'm a little bit more of a believer in this thing throughout the year?
Yeah, absolutely. Believer, I don't think is the right word, and that's kind
less skeptical.
And that's kind of a throwback to our first episode, because that's the first question you asked me was, like, we were talking about tarot and astrology, and, like, out of those two, which one do you think is, like, the more believable? Out of everything I've learned, I really like the manifestation one. I think with the manifestation, it's one of those things where it wasn't, I mean, it had some magic to it, but really it was more like the power of positive thinking, which I think anybody can get behind, whether you're skeptical, whether you believe in science, whether you do believe in the astros or magic. kind of sounds cheesy, but believing you can lead to you doing what you want to do. So I think manifestation is probably one of my best ones. And I'll throw some quips here and there. I'll be like, hey, like, it's eclipse season, right? We can't manifest or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Or like that episode that you mentioned about Dr. House, where it's like Mercury's in retrograde. Like, I'll see you sort of like anything happens, you're like, Mercury's in retrograde.
What about you? Has there been any of like things that you've been pretty adamant or believed about, and then I maybe gave you a good point of view or counter argument? You're like, no.
No. So what it's really made me do is, so again, I was worried with the title Jen Explains that people would think that I'm an expert in everything, and it's not. It's literally just like I do the research for you, but I really hope that this podcast shows that like you could do your own research, because like, for example, one of my favorite episodes, Dia de los Muertos, I didn't know its origins until we had to do this podcast. Or like the evil eye, I didn't know its origins until we had to do this podcast. So really, all of you, anyone that has questions can dive in deeper. But I've been asking some like really deep questions, because there's this saying like, unless you can teach it, you don't really know it.
Mm-hmm.
So I've asked some really deep questions like, what is a degree in astrology? Like, where did this math come from? Like some super meta stuff that, unless it's an advanced class, like I don't think would resonate well on the podcast, but like that's the type of deep dive that I'm doing. I would say something that maybe I'm a little more skeptical of, but I still really like, just because it's fun, is like crystals, because there it's like, you know, I could explain like why it's fun and what crystals are, but like, can I fully explain and stand on business as to like why crystals work? Not really, but I still like to use them because they just make me feel good. And I've also come to accept that like not everyone is gonna be persuade, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Like you can,
and
like,
that's never really the point of any of our episodes,
yeah.
to persuade people. It's kind of more just share our knowledge and experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny you mentioned crystals, because that's one of the, speaking of kind of which ones I believe in, that one was one more I could get on board on.
Really?
Yeah, just because way throwback. In that episode I talked about how like there's been studies that show that people who live over lithium deposits are happier. So to me, when it's tangible, it gives me a little bit more validity. So crystals obviously are tangible, so you can kind of test things out.
Interesting.
Yeah. The other thing, kind of just going back, which is really funny, you'll notice it more and more as we do more episodes, I forget which topics we've covered. Sometimes I'll say something like, I think that sounds familiar, and I'll ask you like, did we do that? And you're like, yeah.
Yeah, I have to look back sometimes, and I'm like, did we do this already?
And so this episode is 51. It would have been cool if it landed on 50, but that's okay. But that's 51 episodes of us just kind of yapping, huh?
Yeah, but it's been fun. It's been really, really great.
And on those 51 episodes, I guess I could start, but what has been our favorite? I really, really, really enjoyed the butterfly effect one. I think that's one of the episodes that got me thinking the most, in a very abstract way, in a very like scientific way. I think it was Joshua who left some beautiful questions that kind of left us wondering and pondering.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that for a few days afterwards, and that's been one of my favorite episodes that we've ever recorded. I don't think it's the one I've listened to the most, but it's definitely been one that I've super enjoyed recording, super enjoyed hearing back. And then a more recent one was Deja Vu. I actually really enjoyed that one. I thought that was a super fun one.
Yeah.
With the butterfly effect, that's one that I suggested, so I wonder if that has anything to do with like some bias there. But that's one of my favorite episodes. What about you? What has been one of your favorite episodes?
Dia de los Muertos, because the history is so fascinating and so rich. I really enjoyed that one, but I also like all of our signs.
Yeah.
The signs are a lot of fun, especially like comparing like celebrities and stuff. I think it's really cute. And then obviously like our unhinged episodes are really, really great.
Yeah. And you know, it's been super just knowledgeable getting to know about all the signs and all those things. So
yeah.
I don't know, just another quick reflection on the year. I mean, we started with kind of an idea and it's blossomed. You know, just taking the time to look back. I'm very amazed how on track we stayed and how organized we stayed.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. if somebody would have asked me beforehand, like, do you think it's hard to do like one episode a week for 45 minutes? I probably would be like, yeah, I mean, there's some time involved, but I didn't realize like how much goes into it between like getting set up, recording, editing, putting it out, like.
Yeah, podcasting is not a normal conversation. It takes skill to make it seem like we're just talking. It's not a normal conversation.
Yeah.
That's one interesting thing that I've had to learn. There's a lot of skill involved, especially now that there's like a visual element. Like you have to have an improv skill if you run out of things to say, which is like the yes and.
Yeah.
And then also because most podcasts, like the big podcasts that you see, will have 3 cameras. Right now we're only limited to 1. So I really had to study like how do news anchors like that share a desk, for example, like interact with the camera and their co-host at the same time. I've had to look up like makeup, like camera makeup is different than IRL makeup. Like all these little behind the scene things are so fascinating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's actually a great segment into this is what this year has given us, and kind of talk about what this upcoming year has. So why don't we maybe start with like an astrological forecast? Is there anything in the stars that is going to dictate how we feel for the next year or so? Or did I kind of put you on the spot?
I have to look at some things because it depends on our own astrology. The one thing I can say off the top of my head is that Pluto is moving into Aquarius, which is the planet of like rebirth and like dramatic change. Aquarius is in my 5th house of pleasures, and like I find this to be enjoyable and a creative endeavor. So I think we're gonna see some like growth starting in 2025, or really more like winter of 2024.
Yeah.
And then we are going to have Jupiter going to Cancer, which for me is my midheaven, which is sort of like fame, notoriety. Not that I'm gonna like get famous or anything, but just like help me sort of feel more comfortable being in the spotlight. Like when we first started this endeavor, I was really petrified of like, what if I offend people? What if like I have some Karens come after me? And now I'm just like, I don't care. And like, to be honest, I was petrified of like my parents seeing this because I'm still in the broom closet with them. Like
Broom
I am, because like
I love that.
anyone else, it's like I don't give a shit. This is me. But now it's like I'm not gonna tell them. But if they were to find out, like it is what it is. This is sort of like a tangent, but they did these sociology studies about like, for example, like coming out as a person of color versus like as a not person of color, and the not people of color feel like they have to come out and announce things, whether that's like the rainbow closet, the broom closet, things like that. However, people of color, specifically Latinos, they invite in, where it's like I don't have to show myself to everyone, but it's more like people that I feel safe exposing myself to, they could come in and step into my world. So
well, now you're out for the whole world to see. So.
yeah, no, this is a little bit of like a vulnerable moment, but yeah, it's just hard with like, yeah, just having like a Catholic upbringing and stuff. But it's like, this is me. I know that at the end of the day, I'm not hurting anyone. My intentions are pure, and we have a great community.
Throwback to episode 1 again. We talked about kind of your Catholic roots and beginnings. And there was a very specific line in there that said, "What do we expect out of this podcast?" And all it was just you sharing your opinion and me giving, or no, you kind of sharing your practice and me giving like a skeptic's view of it. And that's really what was on the table. That's all it was. So just to see kind of where we are. And then one thing that I think within the last year that's been also incredible has been just the reception that we've received. Yeah. And we're going to go into that. That'll be kind of the later half of the podcast. But it's been incredible. Yeah, it's been incredible. And I've really, really enjoyed that.
Yeah, only one hate comment throughout this whole year.
Yeah.
Which is great. Yeah. I mean, you gotta have at least one hater to know you're making it.
Yeah, one hater's not bad considering. So, so yeah, I think that's good reflection on our year, and here's to many more years. There are days where it is difficult. We recently had an episode where we were just like, is it worth doing this? Is it worth continuing? I think everybody kind of hits that wall. I think it came at a good time. Like, we didn't hit that wall right away.
No.
I've talked to people and they're like, yeah, I did 3 episodes, and I was like, no, I'm done.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be those doubts. There's always going to be just like, why are we doing this? And I asked this at the beginning when we started, but I'll ask it again. So why are we doing this? I want to hear from you first.
I just want to continue to grow the community, and then I've just gotten such good reception of people being like, I'm not scared to be me anymore. I'm not scared to try this or to do what makes me happy. And it's really like, I denied myself happiness and authenticity for like such a long time that it's like, if I can help people realize that faster and have them learn through my mistakes, I'm happy to do that. So sort of like how I say at the end, remember the magic within you makes the world a more beautiful place. I genuinely mean that. Like, each and every one of you are special. You may not think so, but like, you have something unique to offer this world, and I just want everyone to embrace it, whether they're a skeptic, a believer, somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, and our tagline was a few episodes in. We didn't come up with it until a few episodes. And yeah, I'm in the same way. I never, ever, ever imagined people would say anything remotely close to like, thank you for putting it out. Like, this has helped me in XYZ. That was never an expectation. So that was one of the more beautiful surprises that I got. One thing I enjoy about it is it's kind of like a diary,
Yeah, that's
so much changes. I mean, I can go back and listen to one of our early episodes and kind of encapsulate it in time of like, oh, that's where we were in life. I think that's been really great, and I think that's also why journaling is super effective, because it's like a snapshot in time, but now we have it recorded. So even if it's for like our own personal, diary, it's been really nice.
It's like an audio journal. It's nice.
Yeah, exactly. Now a video journal.
Yeah, now a video journal. Yeah.
So speaking of video, that's been newer. This is only one of our first few episodes on video for the general public. Again, the Patreon, we've had a few unhinged episodes. They've been really fun. If you're not a member, go check them out. But what do we have to look forward for this next year? We have quite a few things in the works. So one of those obviously is video, as you can see, and that's only going to get better.
Yeah.
As we get more equipment, as we continue to grow, that's one thing. Different segments. I mean, it's been a year of y'all listening to us talk, and we're going to invite some people. You want to talk about that a little bit?
I'm so excited for guests. So we're trying to manifest this. We've already recorded one of these segments, but we want to do Mystic Maintenance, which is a segment of Jen Explains where I read other people and you get to see sort of like the interaction in a reading and get to learn more about the person being read. And then I'm trying to manifest this, and I think it will happen. But I also want to start, I don't remember what we called it, but like
just experts.
Yeah, like an expert series where folks that have some expertise in like some sort of like metaphysical realm can come, and then we can learn from them together, and I just facilitate the conversation. So very, very excited for that.
Yeah. And kind of an open invitation. If you're an expert in any metaphysical topic, let us know, and we'd love to have you on the podcast. And then if you want to get a reading from Jen, also a lot of people maybe are a little skeptical because they're like, well, let me try it out first, or they don't want to commit to a monetary engagement. If you're interested in getting a reading for Jen, contact us, and it's essentially a free reading. We would just use it for content, which is really nice because it's a full 45-minute reading, which is kind of the highest level you offer on your personal stuff. That's in the year to come. Again, like Genesis said, we already actually have one filmed and ready to go. It might release next month, but we're really trying to get those as much as possible. So if you are interested in a free reading, let us know. But we do ask that you be on camera and let us use your likeness.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. I'm excited to get more of those segments out. I think they're going to be a lot of fun.
And then also, as we grow, our Patreon and our kind of paywall stuff is also growing. That one's growing, I think, a little bit faster.
Yeah.
Just because I think it's a little less structured. So those unhinges, they really are about our life. Sometimes they can be like an amendment to the main episode. Like when we did the sigils one, that was cool because we had the main episode of the sigils. And then in the unhinged, for our paid members, they got to see your sigil and got a little tutorial. So sometimes, again, they'll be part of it. Sometimes they'll be kind of their own thing. Like, for example, we're going to like an art thing coming up. So you'll kind of get to see our art take on just kind of our personal likes. And if you just like more of that vloggy behind the scene content, that's available. And that is a grab bag. We have so many fun episodes planned for that. Like you don't want to miss them. We have a really, really fun one planned coming up. So
yeah, definitely.
That's kind of what we have coming for the year. Again, we also have our studio, which also doubles as your consultation area. When we first got the lease, I'm very bad with perspective, just want to say that. But I saw the space and I was like, this will work great for the studio, but I think that'll be it. We can't do more than that. But the space is pretty big and we were able to do our recording studio as well as like your consultation area for your clients.
Yeah, my office. Step into my office.
Step into my office.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Huge shout out again to Luna, which we're renting the space from in Abracadabra. They've really facilitated it. It's been a great little community, and I've really, really appreciated being in this space. And it's a haunted building, so there you go.
Love that. Yeah, I need to get there. They make these little teddy bears that are EMF readers. So, like, if the teddy bear lights up, it means like a ghost touched it. Yeah.
I've been asked about that. I was asked about it yesterday from my barber, actually. He's like, so you've seen any ghosts? I was like, no, not yet.
Your wife has.
My wife has, so, yeah. Well, I think with that, any last things you want to say about this year or what we have coming up for the next year?
Stay tuned, especially now that we're doing video. I feel like it's gonna be a whole new rebirth. Yeah, very excited.
Mm-hmm. We do want to end our segment this incredible episode, the 1-year episode, with shouting out the support from our community. There's a lot of things I hear that are super cliche from other podcasters, other YouTubers. I'm like, ugh, I would never say that. But it's so true. Like, it would not be possible without the community. I think we would have put out a couple episodes, and if it had no reception, we would have been like, well, this is just not, really reaching anybody, so, what's the point? But almost as soon as we came out, people were super, super duper supportive. So with podcasts, though, how they grow, it's a little more organic. It's not like YouTube where there's like an algorithm. So if you haven't already, please share with your friends or people you trust or whoever you want to share a podcast with. All the podcasts I listen to have been from referrals. Even like the big podcasts I listen to, I've started listening because somebody told me about them. So your word goes a long way. So that is kind of our one ask. If you have not shared our podcast, please tell your friends, tell your family. That's how podcasts really grow. So
yeah, and also just like, believe it or not, liking content goes like such a long way. Even if it's just like generic posts, like that is one of the biggest ways that you can support a content creator, is like liking, and then if you feel moved to, commenting, like David said, sharing. But every week we average like about 20 listeners, sometimes a little bit more. Now that we have YouTube, it's gotten a lot more split now. So whether you've listened to one episode or like almost every episode, we want to thank you so much. Like you absolutely don't have to. It's your free time, but the fact that like you're interested in, or at least want to give it a chance, like we appreciate you so much. But there are specific individuals that we want to take the time to thank now, which are our Patreon members. Yes.
Thank you, y'all.
Yes.
And for our Chocolata members, we have, and that's the $4 that gets you access to all the unhinged episodes, the bonus episodes. We have Mazi and Vanna. Thank you so much.
Yes.
And then for our Cafe members, that gets you access to the unhinged episodes, plus a fiery, wonderful Discord community and a once a month meetup. So I think that's kind of like the best one. If you're interested and you're like, this gives you kind of the most, I would say.
Virtual meetup.
Or virtual meetup, yeah. And so for now, but as we grow, we might do in person.
That's one thing I want to manifest next year.
Yes. And for that level, which is our cafe level, we have Mercy, Janet, Crystal, Erica, and my mom just joined 2 minutes before we started filming this podcast. So
Literally.
thank you so much.
Yes.
And then no tequila members yet, but again, that is a good way if you've been wondering on like, hey, I kind of want to get a reading. You get 15 minutes a consultation with either of us, really. But that's a good price point for you if you've ever just been interested in getting like a reading or something.
Yeah.
It's month by month, so you can always cancel on that one.
It's like a subscription box to yourself for consultations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they don't roll over, but they are refundable. So if you're on the tequila level and you're like...
Not refundable.
Not refundable. Transferable. Yes.
I'm like, hold it. No, transferable.
Transferable.
So if that month you want to gift it to, your friend or something like that, you absolutely can, like if you're not going to have time to redeem it or don't want to redeem it.
Yeah. We have two, and now we're going to go into, speaking of our community, kind of the feedback they have for us, which again, super appreciated. We have 2 text feedbacks, and then we have voice messages. So I'll read the first one, you read the second one, and then we'll listen to our community's beautiful voices. Mm-hmm. All right, so the first one is a message to you from Crystal and... from Crystal. Both of them were Crystal. Okay, so Crystal, it's Annie and Chewy's mom. Those are her dogs. Great dogs. That's actually how y'all met.
Yeah,
the dogs.
yeah. On the cafe level.
Yes, on the cafe level. She says, the podcast is great. I love listening and learning about topics I either was only vaguely familiar with or hadn't even heard of. It's a gentle introduction to... it's a gentle introduction to, I'm sure, your very complex topics. You and David have such a good balance of belief and skepticism. It's refreshing to hear both sides in a single episode and told respectfully. Although I am still fuming about David's take on Kendrick, lol. He's going to be in the Super Bowl, and I was like, that's who they chose for...
I'm pumped.
Ugh.
I'm pumped.
Anyways, I love how you guys incorporate your personal experience to topics. The story of how you guys ended up with Lucy had me tearing up. You guys are doing great, and I'm a little behind on episodes, but I'm excited to catch up. Crystal, thank you so much. That really means a lot, and we love your dogs, and we love your support, so thank you so much.
Yes, I love when you text me and you're just like, oh my god, I'm on the ride to work, I heard this, or like how you were like, the catacombs aren't in Paris, and then she's like, yes they are. We also received a text from Crystal Ann, aka Waxy Aesthetics. Congratulations on hitting a year. I've learned so much from each episode, from scrying to altars. I've been able to incorporate a lot into my practices. I can't wait for future episodes from you and David. Happy 1 year. Thank you so much.
Thank
we
you.
Really appreciate it.
Those were 2 good episodes, especially the altar one. That was a fabulous one. All right, now we're going to go into some voice messages we got. We got about 4 of them, and I'm so excited to hear, so get us along.
All right, we're going to start with Janet, another cafe level member.
Hey guys, I just wanted to say how absolutely proud I am of the both of you at your 1 year doing this podcast. Honestly, I have never been so engaged with a podcast or even been a part of a Patreon. So I really love the fact that I was able to see where you guys started off so small to coming up to where you are now. And from getting your first sponsor to starting your own Patreon, loving the perks. If y'all have not joined the Patreon, you guys are really missing out because it is so much fun. A lot of engagement, a lot of sharing, and a lot of laughs. So I just wanted to say to you guys, congratulations on your 1 year. I'm absolutely proud of you guys. David, you've come a long way from being very more quiet to being the feisty one and the logical one, just thinking outside the box. I absolutely am so proud of you guys. Love you both. Keep doing what you're doing. It's doing so amazing.
No.
Thank you so much, Shannon. That means a lot. And you've been such a big supporter. You were the first one to put a voice message out. And I love that. I love that. And it really means a lot. Yeah, it's glad to hear. I'm glad to hear that you're able to hear the progression. I was always feisty. I just maybe dialed it back because I was like, I don't want to come off too aggressive. But there was a couple episodes in there where I was like, no, I gotta talk. So glad you noticed it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
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 All
Thank you for
right,
that.
now Miss Mozzie.
Okay, I'm not even gonna tell you how many times I re-recorded this, okay? I talk too much, I curse too much, and it's either I won't shut up or I'm inappropriate. You know what I'm saying? I'm a Gemini, okay? And what do you expect? Also, I love that episode. That was my favorite. Very controversial. I love you guys. I love you guys because Genesis, you're freaking so smart, so talented, so gifted, and you're sharing this with us. Like, come on. And then David, yes, you're like smart as well. Okay, you're like crazy smart, and you keep trying to debunk everything, and it's freaking hilarious. Okay, and I love it. I love you guys' dynamic. I love you guys' inclusion. I I love the way you guys like interact with us. Your content is amazing. Like I can't wait to see what's or hear. I can't wait to hear what's coming. Actually, see too. I saw those little videos. Very like you guys are just one upping everything. Okay. Um, but yeah, I keep running out of time, so I'm just gonna keep going until I can't. Congratulations on one year. Like that's amazing. But we knew you would do it, and you're gonna keep doing it. Okay, come on. Like there's so much more we can talk about, and there's so much more you can teach us. Okay, and I love it, and I can't wait.
Aww.
Mozzie, thank you so much. That was super, super duper sweet. It means a lot.
Yeah.
Just hearing this feedback, I almost at a loss for words, which is really rare. So
Yeah, honestly, Mozzie has had my back since before Jen Explains was a thing. So thank you so much. And in true Gemini fashion, you hit the max recording time. I love it.
also, we're an uncensored podcast, so cuss all you want.
Exactly. Yeah, we are also chill. Yeah, we love honest feedback.
Next is my mom, which is great.
Yes, let's hear from my mother-in-law, who I adore very much.
Hello, this is Santa Mora taking the opportunity to congratulate Jenny and David for their first anniversary. Thank you so much for creating this podcast, which I found very interesting as well as entertaining. I love the skeptical approach that David brings, and of course, I enjoy to hear the spiritual side that Jenny brings, and also the one that I identify myself with. I found it very interesting and entertaining, and I am looking forward to hear more of you guys. Congratulations.
Oh, thank
Awesome.
you so
Thank you so much.
much.
And can I say, my mom is the person I share the podcast with the most. Every Wednesday, I call her every day, pretty much. But
Yeah.
every Wednesday, I still look forward to our conversation of like, what did you think? What are your thoughts? We talk about almost for like another 45 minutes. So it's great. And thank you so much, Mom, for helping us out and joining the Patreon as well as just listening to every episode. So thank you so much. And I love you.
Yes, we love you. Thank you so much for your support. Next is Mercy, last but not least.
Yes.
Hey, Jen and David. I have to admit, I'm a little nervous about leaving a voice note. It's always a creepy experience hearing myself back and realizing, ew, that's what I sound like. But I just knew I had to do it. It's such a special occasion, celebrating 1 year of Jen Explained. It's honestly been amazing watching you guys stay so dedicated and passionate about this podcast. And watching it grow over the last year has been such a joy, and I'm so grateful to be a part of the community. Every episode really feels like I'm just right there with you, just hanging out, and I've loved learning so many cool and interesting mystical topics along the way. Honestly, every week I'm left dumbfounded and so impressed by your guys' knowledge. I'm just constantly thinking, wow, my friends are so smart. But like I've said, I've actually learned learned a lot through this podcast, but to name a few, I am now no longer afraid of tarot. I grew up learning that tarot is something you don't mess with, that it's the devil's magic. But what I've learned through this podcast is that if my intentions are good and positive, things like tarot and magic are not anything I need to be afraid of. Because of the podcast, I now put cinnamon in my coffee on the 1st of every month, but I know better than to do it during eclipse season. And David may call me crazy, but I've totally waited to have some difficult conversations until Wednesday, and they've all worked out for me, okay? So I'm all on board for the Days of the Week episode. And y'all know I pull out my Color Magic lip gloss. We meet at the workshop on days I need to feel more confident. So Jen Explains has definitely become a staple in my life every week, and it's something I look forward to, and I can't wait to see where it goes next. Also, really quickly, a big shout out to the Patreon. We are a small but mighty community, and I definitely recommend everyone join us. The unhinged weekly episodes are a ton of fun, and our Discord is poppin'. So if y'all are not a part of the Patreon yet, what are you guys waiting for? Come join us. But okay, I've rambled long enough. I love you both, and here's to many more years of Jen Explains. Yay! Woo! Confetti emoji, confetti emoji, confetti emoji!
Aww.
Mercy, thank you so much. You are the sweetest. You've kind of been there since day one, and we really appreciate it. We didn't even know you were listening until we saw you at a party. And you're like, oh my gosh, we had to listen to your podcast. And thank you so, so much. And I don't think you're crazy. If anything, I'm like, wow, that you're practicing all the things we talk about. I don't practice any of the stuff we talk about. So no, not crazy. Super thankful. And I know you and I can sit here and talk about the Patreon, to ad nauseum, but when you get to hear it from the community itself, it's just so touching. So,
and I know that, for a lot of people that left voice messages, it's very nerve-wracking to hear yourself speak. We've had to get used to it this past year. It's not
I was
easy.
used to it.
Yeah, that's fine. But I was not.
Received a message from Grace and Melody after we recorded our 1-year special, but we want to include their well wishes and comments, so we're going to hear them now. Thank you so much.
Hi, Jen. This is Grace. I was coming on just to say congratulations on your 1 year and to thank you for always coming to my parties and being the life of it. Thank you so much.
Hi, Jen and David. This is Melody. Hi, Leos. Just want to say also congratulations on your 1 year. Can't wait to see what's next for y'all.
Bye.
So thank you so much, everyone. That really warms my heart. And yeah, I almost shed a tear during this episode. Just it's got me in my feels just to see wow, this is bigger than us. So
absolutely.
Thank you so much for being a part of the ride.
And with that said, here's to another year. Here's to another great community. If you have any episode topics you want to hear, we have a whole catalog of topics. I don't think we've dipped into that catalog in months. Most of them have been suggestions or things that come from the community. So please, if there's anything you want to know, let us know. And with 1 year, where can people find you?
So you can visit our website, jencolo.com, or you can DM me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, at jencolo, and all my links are in the link tree if you'd rather get in touch by email, also in the episode descriptions. Yeah.
All right, everyone, bye. And Jen, what do you have?
Yes, the magic within you makes the world a more beautiful place, and I really do mean that. Blessed be, and signing off. Thank you.
Bye.